Ex-wife's new husband made fun of me in front of his friends because I didn't have a job. They didn't know I owned the company they all worked for, until I fired them. What happened next was funny. Although they say life has a humorous way of making things complete, I didn't find this amusing. As I sat on the leather couch in Tom's immaculate, modern house, drinking a glass of water while feigning indifference to the mocking comments and laughter around me, it was funny in a way. With his carefully chosen entourage, Tom, Sophia's new husband, was in his element, a circle of elitists all savoring their own glory. And then there was me. The pity case, the uninvited guest, the ex-husband who was still, at least in their eyes, struggling to put his life together. I had believed Sophia had invited me out of goodwill, but I soon realized it was something else. This was her moment of fulfillment, the final nail in the coffin of our history. Tom wanted to mark his territory, to demonstrate his victory by replacing me with a more prosperous and superior version of myself. So I played along. I let them place me in the most inconvenient part of the room, pretending as though I wasn't supposed to be there. They made fun of me, picked at my alleged shortcomings, and laughed about how I had never accomplished much. What they didn't realize was that I owned them. Not in the way they owned their expensive sports cars or luxury timepieces, but in the way a spider owns the fly caught in its web. Calmly, quietly, completely. They were too busy enjoying their own superiority to notice that I had barely taken a sip of my drink before Tom seized the moment and turned the conversation to me, smiling smugly, his flawless face radiating arrogance. "Daniel, tell us, what do you do these days?" His voice dripped with phony interest, as if I were some charity case. Sophia was the first to laugh, that same chuckle I had heard 1,000 times before. She swirled her wine, pretending to puzzle it out as though she had no idea what I did. The room exploded in laughter. Greg, one of Tom's business associates, leaned forward with amusement barely concealed behind his glass. "Still unemployed, that's tough, man. I don't know how you do it. If I didn't have an excuse to wake up in the morning, I'd lose my mind." His wife, Angela, snorted. "Sophia, you're too kind," she said, taking a sip of her drink. "If it were me, I'd feel ashamed to have an ex still hanging around without a job." I mustered a feeble smile. Not because I was embarrassed. Not because their words had any real sting. But because I was silently memorizing every insult. Every sneer. My chest grew warm, my fingers itching to end the game right then and there, to see their faces shift from ridicule to sheer terror. Tom, oblivious, leaned back on the couch, stretching languidly. "I keep telling Sophia," he groaned loudly. "She really dodged a bullet." The room erupted in cruel laughter. I tightened my jaw. My grip on the glass tightened too. Tom wasn't finished. He was relishing his moment. "I don't mean to offend Daniel," he continued, flashing that same smug grin. "But it must be difficult to watch her move on with someone who can truly take care of her." Greg laughed. Sophia smirked into her wine glass. "That's cold, Tom," Angela giggled, giving Sophia a playful nudge. "If it were me, I would have blocked my ex ages ago." Sophia just smiled, as if she were too generous to be resentful, as if she were offering me some kind of grace. They all chuckled, basking in their little spectacle, relishing their supposed victory over me. What they didn't know, what none of them had the slightest inkling of, was that I owned them. Not just metaphorically. Not just in a way that would hurt their pride. I owned their jobs, their careers, their futures. Every single one of them was sitting comfortably in that mansion because of me. Greg had a job because I gave him one. Angela got her promotion because I approved it. Every move they thought they had earned. Every inch of power they believed was theirs. I had orchestrated it all. And yet, they were laughing at me. The final blow came when Tom lifted his drink and smiled at me, as if he had just given a standing ovation to the world's biggest failure. To Sophia, he toasted, for finally getting the man she deserves. They clinked glasses, smirking, lost in their illusion. I lifted my own glass just slightly, nodding in silent agreement. Let them have their laughs. In less than 12 hours, there wouldn't be anything left for them to laugh about. They thought I was a failure, the ex-husband who couldn't keep a job, the man Sophia had the wisdom to leave behind. They had no idea. They thought they were powerful, that their little group of elitists, with their financial clout and business acumen, made them untouchable. But the truth? They were pawns on my chessboard. For years, I had quietly arranged every promotion, every job title, every company acquisition. I had built an empire from the shadows, pulling the strings while they believed they were winning. I had been patient. I had played the long game. And tomorrow, it would all come crashing down. Melissa, the loudest of them all, would walk into her office and find herself locked out. A financial audit would reveal her illegal expenses. Angela would receive a termination notice for her poor management and ethical violations. Greg and Scott would be called into a meeting regarding their falsified sales data and insider trading. And Tom would get a call from his board of directors informing him that, by the end of the day, his financial support had been withdrawn. His company, his entire empire, was on the verge of collapse. And Sophia would simply watch as the life she thought she had secured crumbled beneath her. Now comment update to tag you on part 2.